Hey guys, welcome back to an episode 12-inch figure Fanatic. Remember to subscribe. So today we're going to be opening up the Spider-Man new red and blue suit deluxe version. I'm losing track of how many different kinds of Spider-Mans there are. I am going to do a side-by-side with the one that I did have previously, which is the upgraded suit version. So this is the new red and blue suit, and the other one is the upgraded suit. So this one also, I think, comes with a base, and that's why it's a deluxe version. And I think that's why the size of the box as well. But let's open it up and see what we got here. All right. Yeah, I'm not such a Spider-Man fan. I find him kind of nauseating, a little too ADHD acting, whether he's in the suit or out of the suit. Especially in the suit. Definitely ADHD. So it's got a slip here. The box itself is pretty nice. Some gloss, and then it's flat in other areas, like the bottom here. And you got the window here. Okay. Oof. So I got some hands on top to start. Several hands. And variations in the eyes, whether it's squinting or wide-eyed. Okay. So here he is. And I could already tell it's a very premium looking figure. Okay. So it's interesting how they did this, man. They did a real good job here. So they got this in here. I think with humidity, if you had these pressing down like this, I'd be careful. Aside from the idea that it might crack over time, this would probably stick together. So you can already see it here. Right here. See that? How it sticks? See that? It just snapped off. And there's now a little crease there on both sides. Same thing on this one. Watch. Here. See? A little stickiness there. So you got to be careful with these figures. Especially if you're going to pose it in some wild way. But very good detailing, and the pattern throughout, excellent job on that. And then, yeah, so the head sculpt, I like how they did this. The head sculpt is also covered in material. I think my other Spider-Man, it was a plastic head sculpt. And then they just, you could definitely see a seam with it. But this one's fantastic because it just connects throughout the costume seamlessly. The detailing here of the web shooter, I think that's a web shooter right there. And it's on both sides. And then got a lot of flexibility. See, I just did my video on the in-art Superman. And I wish that the ankle bent as well as this. And then the toes too. Look at that. Because you might have him in sort of a kneeling position. So you've got good dexterity there. All right, so let's see what else we got. Here's the head. Okay, so the likeness is pretty good. The eyes look a little cracked out though. Yeah. Let me see here. Oh, so the eyes are movable. All right, so fantastic. Look at that. I love that figures are doing this now. You just got to make sure you align it very well, otherwise you could have something like this. Okay, there we go. Boom. Beautiful. Yeah, fantastic head sculpt. Never mind, it was only cracked out the way it was looking before. Very nice. And then just the mask. So he could be holding onto the mask with his hand. Looks like this is the part of the stand. Here's the other part. I'm not a fan of this type of stand either. It's a little too bulky. I prefer that this is clear. This tool to move around the eyes. You got several different options for webbing. And it's got some flex to it. It's still kind of delicate, but it's got some flex to it, so you don't have to worry about it bending. Same thing with these. Just a little bit of flex. Very nice that you have all these options, though, including like as if it's shooting out and hasn't landed on its target yet. It's just shooting out of the wrist. Some extra nubs. And we've got the base. This is the main reason I got this figure. Look at that. Fantastic. And then the stand is concealed behind it. And it's done very nicely. So it looks like they did some great texturing on the snow. It could have a little bit of gloss to it, some sparkle, like you would expect on snow. And then the window. So it's got a little, they even put the little piece of plastic in here to look like glass. So it's got a nice shine to it. The piping looks good. Yeah, fantastic job. And then you've got the instruction book as well. So let's get this figure set up. We're going to do side by side with the Spider-Man I already have. And I still haven't determined yet which one I'm going to keep. But maybe once I have them side by side, you'll help me figure it out. All right, so here it is set up. I have it in the same pose that I saw in one of the photos from Hot Toys, so I kind of like that. But wouldn't want to leave it too long, because if I were to stand it up after a few months or especially years of it looking like that, there's likely to be some permanent damage. So, you know, your professional figure collectors will tell you that you want to repose your figures every once in a while, or just keep it in a sort of static flat pose, like what we call museum pose, to make sure that the materials are preserved properly. So here is the one that I had before. It's this, I think it's black, but it's a little off black, maybe like a dark blue, but it could be black. I like this one because it looks sleek, but this is certainly not the classic, what we envisioned a Spider-Man to look like. So I'll probably end up selling this one and keeping this one. So here's what I was talking about earlier, where the head sculpt is it's covered in material. You could see it move around a little bit there. So they covered the head sculpt in material, but they did not blend it in with the neck. It's it's an entirely separate removable head. This one, you know, now that I think about it, how do they manage? So I think, I'm thinking out loud here. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? How is it that they're able to do this? I don't see any zipper. So I'm wondering how you would switch out the head sculpt. I'm going to read the instructions and be right back. All right, so I read the instructions. I was very puzzled because I couldn't figure out how you would change out the head sculpt because there's no longer a seam here. And what they did, and this is genius, they should have done this all along. Look at that. So it's right on where you would expect the sewn seam to be. So it blends right in. You can hardly tell. It looks like it's just part of the costume. And then that whole thing just comes off. Isn't that amazing? And then you could put this one on. And once again, you can hardly tell it was there. Fantastic the way they did that. Versus this. This is what we don't want. Look at that. Ugly. Fantastic job, Hot Toys. You finally figured it out. So, definitely keeping this figure. I love the base. Like I said, the main reason that I got this figure was the base. I'm going to give this figure, let's see, what are its shortcomings? What did I say? Really doesn't have any, actually. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Tons of hand options, tons of web options, good dexterity and bendability. The costume is very detailed. This is a premium figure. Usually with Hot Toys, I could find some kind of deficiency. This, you know, like when I opened up my InArt and I was like, I'm trying as hard as I can to find something wrong with this thing, and I couldn't find anything wrong. Similar story here. If anything, these exposed, but even that you could hide a little bit. I guess this is the only issue. If they could have done the same thing somehow, like maybe the same concept as here, have the cutoff of the above the wrist, so it blends in with the line of the webbing pattern, and then this would be seamless down here. So this whole thing would be material. Other than that, I'm not even going to take points off of that because I haven't seen figures do that yet. So I'm going to give this figure a 10 out of 10. Yeah, good job, Hot Toys. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.